We'll call to order the HRA meeting for April 28th. The secretary will note that all trustees are accounted and present, and we will move on to chair's remarks, which I have none. So from there, we'll move to item 4, consider approving the minutes from the HRA board meeting of March 24th.
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second? Second by trustee Gamache. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Minutes are adopted. Next, we'll consider recommending the HRA Board of Trustees approve the 2020 action plan and the 2020 through 2024 consolidated plan and forward the CDBG and home funding recommendations from program year 2020 to the county board. Karen.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We are running a little bit off schedule on our funding. We were just doing our public hearing and starting the public comment period when COVID-19 hit. We had a special meeting scheduled to consider these recommendations and then elected to postpone that, or actually cancel that, and then bring it to a regular meeting once we had more details. Since that time, we have been notified that we are receiving additional CDBG money for COVID relief, and we felt that it would be best to follow the recommendations that we were working our way towards. So this is the meeting that would have naturally happened about a month ago. The funding recommendations are in your packets. Nothing at all has changed since the public hearing that was held. We are still setting aside our 15% cap for public services. Our planning and administration remains the same. We have divided everything into our competitive pool then. And then we have home funding. As we talk about the public service cap, I'll be coming back to that later because there are some changes to public service caps that are related to COVID. You are not the final stop on this package. It will go to county board next month, and then we can submit our action plan. The action plan needs to be submitted by May 15th. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Karen, or is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Look.
I'll second.
Second by trustee Gamache. Discussion, trustee Gamache.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Karen, do we have in here in all this documentation the additional dollars as well?
Mr. Chair, trustee Gamache, no, I'll be addressing that in a later item on this agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That item passes. Next, we'll consider recommending the HRA Board of Trustees approve the Dakota County Consortium's Citizen Participation Plan. Karen, anything we need to know here?
Mr. Chair, there is stuff you need to know here. Everything that we do before we put our public funding out there falls back on how we administer our public service, or I'm sorry, our public comment periods. Because of COVID-19, HUD has given us some waivers. We now, instead of a 30 or 60-day public comment period, have a 5-day comment period, and we have a waiver to allow us to conduct our public hearings virtually. Very important at this time. So we've made those changes in this policy, and this is being approved by all of the different county boards that participate with the Dakota County Consortium.
Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by trustee Breasted, second by trustee West. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That motion carries. Next, we are going to look at, let's see, consider recommending the HRA Board of Trustees approve the minimal contact policy for the loan programs administered by the Community Development Department.
Mr. Chair, trustees, my department administers a wide variety of loan programs. We have programs that we fund through CDBG for homeowner rehabilitation. We work with the Department of Agriculture on well and septic loans that we provide. We also work with Minnesota Housing. Because of COVID-19, we are pulling back. We have not made many loans in the past month and a half. We want to make sure that we can serve our residents. So we are now with this policy, we will be up and ready to start running programs for exterior work only. We can help with roofs, we can help with siding, we can help with wells and septics. We are going to continue this as a limited contact policy, meaning that we'll try to conduct everything over the phone. We're working to try to set up electronic closings. And we're trying to do everything to streamline the requirement to have our customers come into our office and trying to abide by social distancing requirements. Approval of this policy will allow us to get our programs back up and running.
Thank you, Karen. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Breasted, second by trustee Gamache. I'm going to take 2 seconds to comment how this time of uncertainty has forced us to do things we're not used to doing, and it's put us in sometimes uncomfortable places. But I thank you and your staff for willing to continue to work outside the parameters of what we're used to figure out how to keep things going. It'd be really easy to stick our head in the sand and say, because of this, we can't do anything right now. So sorry, go away, come back another day. But we're not doing that. We're figuring out ways to get some of this done. Electronic closings are one of them. And it's just, there's certain things that can be done that the private sector has done for a while that may just push government a little bit harder and get us into a more efficient place. And I never hope for a tragedy like COVID-19 to strike anywhere, but when it does, let's see what we can do to fix our process to become more efficient. So thank you for that.
I will share that with my department. Thank you.
Seeing no further comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That item passes. Last, we'll consider for informational purposes an award letter for the CARES Act and the CDBG funds that have been received. Karen.
Mr. Chair, trustees, Commissioner Gamache, this gets to the new funding that is becoming available to us. HUD has rolled out COVID funding. They're calling it CDBG CV, so we can get a few more initials in there for our acronyms. Anoka County is receiving $932,927 in the initial round of funding. The letter that we received appears to indicate there will be supplemental funding rounds after this. If this goes anything like the foreclosure crisis, we received 3 rounds of funding. So we're gearing up. We know we're going to have a lot of money to push through the office. We have just, as of Friday, put a survey on our community development webpage. It's being circulated widely. We would like everybody to help us push it out. That we can get the feedback there from our citizens, our businesses, workers at businesses, government agencies, cities, that will help us decide how we should take this nearly $1 million and use it as a recommendation for funding. We will have to conduct a virtual public hearing once we've made our decisions or our recommendations, and we'll only have a 5-day comment period. So that's why we want to push this survey as far as we can.
Trustee Look. Let me interrupt a second.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, thank you. As I was kind of thinking along this line of, with additional funding, what sort of requirements are going to be put on that funding. I look into the public services portion of it here, and, we have all sorts of requests ranging from rescue boats to 8-passenger vans to vehicle repair to dental equipment, and then you see the food shelves, which are probably in higher demand today than they ever were before. And so you start to try and, at least in my simple mind, you try and prioritize, okay, all that's well and good, but some of it's a lot more critical today than it's ever been. And how can we try and encourage those type of fundings? I'm thinking of a Anoka County Mission or whatever. I mean, their clientele right now is probably, out the door in terms of people struggling and trying to just find enough food to stay alive. So how we can try and meet some of they're all needs, but some of the basic needs maybe as an emphasis. I think I'd be more interested, if given the flexibility, in trying to meet those. So.
With that, I would comment before I turn it back to Karen that I had the distinct opportunity and pleasure to have a meeting with the HUD director for the middle of the United States, Midwest region. I'm not sure what his title is, but him and about 15 of his staff. We had a virtual meeting to discuss how we can implement these dollars quicker, what barriers they can remove for us, and what flexibility they can grant us. I'll be the first to tell you that most of what they said was over my head. I should have had Karen on the call with me. She could have clarified a lot of stuff, but with that said, it was a good meeting, and hopefully some of the stuff they gave us will give us good traction going forward in how we can implement this money much more quickly to truly affect the people that are affected by COVID-19. Karen?
Mr. Chair, trustees, HUD has been pushing out waiver after waiver after waiver, giving us broader authority to do things. One of the best waivers I've ever seen is the removal of the public services cap. With this new COVID money, if we had public services that needed the funds and it was COVID related for either relief or response, we could put our entire grant into public services. We are now also able to take any unused funds from 2020, which we're in the process of allocating, and 2019, and direct those to COVID relief as well. So guidance is being pushed out almost daily. We know that there's going to be this program that we'll be running next month will be very different from what we've run in the past years. But as a team, we're working hard to analyze everything, figure out what our best uses of the funds are, and we will be coming back to you, I would guess, probably at this time next month with some recommendations.
Mr. Chair?
Very good. Trustee Gamache?
Thank you. Thank you, Karen. In the survey you mentioned that we have online, do you have in there information for all of these different public services that might come up to us as to exactly what they need to do regarding making sure that what they're asking for is COVID related? I just kind of wonder how that's all working. I should have probably looked at that before.
Mr. Chair, Trustee Gamache, we sent the survey to, I believe it was about 130 people last Friday, public service agencies, the cities, other interested parties, giving them information that they should be watching this. We certainly want them to reply to the survey. One of our worst nightmares would be if nobody replied, and one person said that what we really need is something that's not eligible. So we want to get it out there. We want to find out, are the business needs greater than the housing needs right now? It's going to be a balancing act. We suspect there'll be future funds, but we want to make sure we get it right. We have sent the survey to the management team. I will make sure that every one of you receives a copy of the survey, and feel free to send it out to everybody on your contact list in the county.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Anything else to come before the HRA? Seeing none, we are adjourned.